Okay, folks, what I'm going to do here is pretty much show you how I would work in Illustrator with a sketch. And I'm going to bring in a sketch of a pumpkin that I designed for a client's album cover. So I'm going to go to File, Place, and on my desktop I have this artwork. I'll bring that into Illustrator and I'll put it into position. Now the most important thing to me when I'm working is organization. So I'm going to double click where it says Layer 1. I'm going to rename this Template. And then I'm going to click Template to lock this layer and click OK. I can no longer manipulate this layer. Now I'm going to zoom in and I'm going to create my layers. So the first thing I'm going to do is create a layer for the pumpkin stalk. So I'll double click on that. Make that layer. I'll make a new one for this little mask in front. I'll make one for the pumpkin skin itself. And I'll make one for any effects if I'm going to add special effects, such as a glow or anything like that. Now what I can do is start to rearrange my layers so that they're in the order that I want them to be in. For example, the mask is in front of everything, so I'll click and drag that to the top. And effects will go on top of the mask. And let's see, the pumpkin stalk will go in front of the pumpkin. And now I'm ready to work. Now, the first thing I'm going to trace is the mask. So I'm going to lock the pumpkin layer, I'll lock the stalk layer, and I will lock the effects layer and go to the mask layer. I'll grab my trusty pen tool. I'll make sure I get rid of the color here. And I'm going to start to drag out this shape. And once again, this is simply a workflow demonstration. I'm going to talk about how I use these tools in upcoming lessons. And I'm a big fan of Adobe Illustrator. I've been using it for a long time. I think since version like 3, back in the Stone Age. That was around the time we started to build Stonehenge together. I used to work at Adobe, or I'm lying, but you know, I used to get very excited about getting the newest versions of Illustrator. Let me just show you what that looks like here. I'm going to grab this and give it a color. So I'll give this outline a color, the stroke. What the outline is called, by the way, is a stroke. And I'll give it a black color so you can just see what that looks like. And what I would do at this point is I would continue to trace. So I'm going to, grab the pen tool again, and I will go to the stalk layer this time. I'll lock the mask layer. What you'll see me do a lot when I work is I lock layers because I don't want to accidentally put artwork where it doesn't belong. Another thing about Illustrator is, since things can overlap other objects, you can go outside the lines. When I color in the pumpkin skin orange, it's going to be on top of the stalk layer, so I won't see this extended region, so I could be a little sloppy. Now, I forgot one more layer. I create a layer that goes on top of everything, and this layer is called lines. Now, what does that mean? All these detail lines will be drawn separately on this layer. So I can grab my pencil tool, for example, and on my lines layer, let me go ahead and lock that layer there, I can draw out all of these detail lines separately. And I can take my time and just have all that detail on this extra layer here. And I don't have to worry about, trying to be very careful when I'm trying to originally trace the major shapes. Sometimes I call this layer details. Sometimes I call it lines. It really depends on how much coffee I've had that day. So I'll just take my time and draw. And one more thing I want to tell you guys before we go ahead into the main tutorial. Don't worry about making mistakes. You see this line here? Not a problem. I grab the white arrow called the direct selection tool, click on the end of it, and I can reshape it at any time. So don't worry about it. You can fix things in Illustrator. It's the computer. Feel free to mess up. You can undo, you can do all kinds of things and not worry about having ink on your hands or worry about messing up in a major way. If you don't like this line, delete it, draw it again, not a problem. So that is a quick workflow demonstration. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Later on, we're going to talk about how to create all kinds of artwork in Illustrator. It's an application that I think you'll really love to use.